Russia struck a facility in the Ukrainian city of Dnipro using what Russian President Vladimir Putin said was a new hypersonic missile. Whilst there is no way to confirm this, it is likely the missile was a modernized version of the RS-26 Rubej, which is classified as an intercontinental ballistic missile under the New START nuclear arms reduction treaty between the United States and Russia. Ukrainian officials initially claimed Russia fired an intercontinental ballistic missile into Dnipro, but that was quickly contradicted by US and other Western officials. The Pentagon later said the new missile was based on an older missile design and that Russia notified the US before the launch, which was confirmed by the Kremlin. Using such a missile with a country Russia shares a border with is overkill. The missile is impractical for Russia in a conventional role due to the high cost compared with other munitions, so such strikes are unlikely to occur regularly. The move will therefore fuel calls in Western capitals for de-escalation and negotiations with Russia that were already growing following the election of Donald Trump. The International Criminal Court formally issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for their role in the genocidal war on Gaza. The ICC said it was issuing the arrest warrants for crimes against humanity and war crimes committed by Israel since October 2023. The court said it found reasonable grounds to believe Netanyahu and Gallant each bear criminal responsibility for the crimes as co-perpetrators for committing the acts jointly with others, the war crime of starvation as a method of warfare, and the crimes against humanity of murder, persecution, and other inhumane acts. The ICC also issued an arrest warrant for Hamas military chief Mohammed Deif for alleged crimes against humanity and war crimes. Although Israel said in August that Deif was killed in an airstrike in southern Gaza, Netanyahu's office rejected the decision and described the move as anti-Semitic. The US rejected the warrants since US officials are implicated due to all the support and military aid the US has provided to Israel to help it carry out war crimes and crimes against humanity. The US had been putting significant pressure on the court to abandon the warrants against Israeli officials, but the campaign didn't work. In response to the warrants for Netanyahu and Gallant, Senator Tom Cotton reminded the ICC that the US has a law on the books that authorizes the use of force against the Hague-based court to free any US or allied government officials or service members, nicknamed the Hague Invasion Act. US officials supported the court's warrants against Saddam Hussein and Vladimir Putin, but when it comes to Israel, it sees things differently. The COP29 climate conference ended in Baku, Azerbaijan, without an agreement on how to help developing countries cope with climate change. Figuring out what form that funding takes, who pays, and how much was the main task of this year's annual UN climate talks. The host nation used the opportunity to arrange new fossil fuel deals and granted access to thousands of fossil fuel lobbyists. There remained a big gap throughout the negotiations between what developing countries expect and what developed countries were offering. There were also differences between developing countries and petrostates as to how much each will contribute to the fund. Another year and another climate conference ends with little agreement on how to deal with the effects of climate change.